Well, Secret Wars sounds pretty exciting. It's going to be multiverse, multi-character, and multi-studio? That's right. We might actually be getting 2 studios characters appearing in the upcoming Secret Wars, and it looks to be bigger than anybody was expecting. Let's break down the recent report. Well, we've been hearing a lot of rumors and reports about Avengers Secret Wars. With the current writer strike going on right now, it's really hard to tell what's going on. But the most recent report does come via the Cosmic Circus. Now, like we always say, this isn't from Marvel Studios or Kevin Feige, so we want to be really careful and take it with a grain of salt. But given how close Sony and Marvel have been working together, this rumor could make for very big returns for both studios and could be something pretty cool. Now, if you recently watched Across the SpiderVerse, and if you haven't, this is a bit of a spoiler, you may have noticed multiple live-action cameos. We did a full breakdown on these cameos, but they basically included Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, as well as Donald Glover making an appearance as a suited-up Prowler. Now, I found that one the most interesting because he was indeed part of the MCU and did suggest a little crossover along with that quote from Spider-Man 29 about the kid and the wizard. Now, we did get 2 live-action shots of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield mourning Uncle Ben and Captain Stacy, but there was also a cameo for Tom Holland that ultimately was cut. Now, all these live-action crossovers really does call into question where these pieces start to fit together, and that brings us to the bigger part of the story. What the team over at the Circus is reporting is that Marvel Studios will indeed use some of the SpiderVerse characters in the upcoming Secret Wars. Now, we've been hearing a lot of stories about various other characters coming to life in Sony's SpiderVerse, and this could be Marvel Studios' chance to play with some of those toys and find a way to tie all these characters a little bit closer together. Remember, Marvel actually rents Spider-Man from Sony, at least a Peter Parker version for the MCU. So it's pretty important to have a back and forth relationship, and even though Marvel's movies do make a lot of money, including Sony's characters side by side with some of Marvel's characters, well, that would probably be good for both studios. Now, whether this means they'll appear on live action or actually in their animated forms, which would be weird, this is currently unclear. But we saw aspects of the multiverse in Across the Spider-Verse, which look very similar to those that have appeared in Loki and Quantumania, so it's pretty clear to me we're all playing in the same multiverse. With one of Sony's next live-action movies being Madam Web, which is going to double down on that, providing multiple versions of Spider-Woman, it does appear to me that there could be some closer ties, and Secret Wars would be a great place for this to all come together. Now, we're also hearing some follow-up rumors that Secret Wars will indeed be broke into a 2-part movie. And not only that, there will be a series of films released in between set in Battleworld. Now, whether some of these Spider-Verse characters are also tied into these Battleworld movies, well, that's completely up in the air, but quite honestly, this is the way to handle the most recent version of Secret Wars, and giving Marvel a Battleworld scenario would be an absolutely incredible way to tell amazing stories with almost no limitations with any character from the whole history of Marvel Comics. Now, whether this means Oscar Isaac shows up playing a live-action version of Spider-Man 2099 in the MCU, where he also plays Moon Knight, well, that's still up in the air. But I do think Marvel and Sony are going to work closely together to make their products complement each other because, as Kevin Feige has said many times before, this isn't necessarily a competition. When one does good, it absolutely helps the other, and Marvel really does want Sony to have as few Morbiuses in the books as possible because it does hurt the overall genre. How many Spider-Verse characters ultimately show up in the MCU for Secret Wars? Well, we're gonna have to wait and see.